Marshelle.
Hi, Bridget. This episode,
We're going to talk about
what are the things that are going on in our lives?
it's kind of like maybe this might be like,
Yeah, sorta, kinda.
life lesson.
Hi. Hello.
Hi,
I'm Marshelle.
I'm Bridget.
This is Yeah, Sorta, Kinda.
Episode 19. And this episode's going to be a little different because we have a guest for the first time in the history of Yeah, Sorta, Kinda.
Yes. Paige Elias, a friend of mine since forever and ago. She's a certified hypnotist. And we thought she could talk to us about all things unconscious and conscious and just cool stuff in general. So,
Yeah, we want to pick her brain about brains. I'm a dork. Without further ado, let's get into it.
there we go.
Paige Elias, very stoked to have you here. Where are you right now in our great world?
I am in St. Louis, Missouri.
Missouri.
Lots of
Is that
exciting
where
things happening.
you and Marshelle, did you guys meet in Missouri originally?
Yeah,
Yep.
we did.
Okay.
Paige was one of those friends that I talk about, core friends, where we met. I was working at Talent Plus at the time, and she came in to audition, I guess, or I was interviewing you or something, and we were just like, hey, you're familiar. We just clicked, and we have been friends ever since. Felt like we knew each other since, we've known each other since what? Dirt was new and wheels were square. No, if that's it. Shut.
Yeah.
Marshall's like, don't literally say when.
We're 83.
Yeah, right.
We look really good, don't we?
There you go.
Zip.
Filter.
Exactly.
And then fast forward to some undetermined amount of time.
Yeah.
We all three were in acting class together, and that's how I met Paige.
Yeah,
But our friendship doesn't shine a candle on yours, the two of you. You guys go way back, so.
Dirt was new and wheels were
I
square.
don't mean,
As
I
I
don't
said,
mean like an old thing.
that's pretty good. Pretty good alliteration, don't you think? Forever.
And other than the fact that you're so cool and we really enjoy you, one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on today was because we really wanted to pick your brain about your experience as a hypnotist. Lately, we've been kind of exploring like the unconscious and the subconscious and topics like that, and even weirder things like sleep paralysis and those different brain states. And I feel like you'd be a really good resource to help us better understand some of those things.
Yeah. So
Well, all the good stuff happens at that subconscious level. That's when it gets really juicy and exciting and interesting, and all the changes you want to make in your life can occur. All the weirdness you can reconcile.
What do you think brought you to hypnotism? Like what interested you? How did you get into it?
I was going through a time in my life that was really tough. My mom had just died. I'd taken care of her for a long time while she was sick, and I had just gone through an abusive, marriage, all that kind of stuff. So I came back to St. Louis kind of broken and was just looking for something, trying to figure out a way to make myself, feel whole again. And I saw my mentors, Dawn and Drew Ferguson, at Pathways bookstore. Marshall, you probably know it, in South St. Louis.
that's the best.
It's such a great
bookstore.
place. It's the best place. And they were giving a little demonstration of what hypnosis can do. And Dawn was talking about the itty bitty shitty committee in your brain, and it just cracked me up. And I was like, this is something I want to follow and pursue, because it was like offering a way to help you tap into what is making you tick and what you're doing to self-sabotage your life in a way where, it was just fascinating. So I kind of did it more as I was just needing somewhere to go. I felt lost and then fell in love with it.
You're really good at it.
So you actually had an experience receiving this and then was like, wow, this is so life-changing. I want to help other people with this. That's
Definitely.
amazing. I love that.
Right?
Love that.
And it just felt, it's like natural, like when we met, you just, it's like we've known each other forever. So I think, sometimes in your life when you're given those opportunities, when something either is so intriguing that you can't turn away, or it just clicks, embrace it and you go with it. And that's what hypnosis has done for me.
What I think is interesting, I was listening to a TED talk about hypnosis and the unconscious and all of this stuff. And it's interesting, to listen to how they can try, certain scientific people try to explain stuff away, and you're like, but it leaves out for what is so, I guess what I want to say is what I thought was really fascinating was how they say so many people go through their life without really knowing themselves. And I think that learning what makes you tick, or why do I do these things? Why do I react the way I react? And that's something Bridget and I always talk about. We thought everybody tried to do that, and they don't necessarily.
Oh, like be the best version of themselves?
Yeah,
kind of
or
thing?
understand, conditioned responses. Paige, what you were saying, I went through a similar thing where I wanted to understand, why is it so hard for me, for example, in my case, to break up with someone when I know I should be out of this relationship? Or why do we react? What triggers these responses that we have? They're like conditioned responses. And I was reading that hypnosis can actually help you figure that out, in some ways.
Well, help you figure out, but it sounds like reprogram that
exactly.
thinking.
That's what I was going to say. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like flip the script to something that's going to be more beneficial instead of, like, what did you say, the itty bitty shitty committee?
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
We have
all those
that.
little voices.
What was that?
Think about as an actor. Well, you think as an actor, the core, your motivation is so core as an actor. And as a human, your motivation is too. And your motivation that we are on autopilot with for most of our lives is from our programming, from when we were kids, when we were little. The experiences that happened, the things that were said to us. If you think about, as a child, the people who are most prevalent in your life are your parents, your teachers, the other school kids around you. And so even one simple thing that someone could have said to you in a critical way could stick with you the rest of your life.
Yeah, and you don't even... I'm sorry, go ahead.
You don't even realize it. Well, you just don't realize it. But you live your life kind of changed to that, to either an altered idea of yourself because of something someone has said to you, that... And I just see so many people never living up to their full potential because they're just so trapped. And so whatever you can find, whatever modality or method you can find to kind of get yourself unstuck, that's where the beauty of it is.
What a great way to put that, though.
Get yourself unstuck.
Get yourself unstuck. That's what I was reading, is that a lot of people, you don't even realize what the patterns we've seen as children. What just happened?
I just did this because I was like, Get Yourself Unstuck could be the name of this podcast. Hypnosis. Get yourself unstuck.
I like that.
This is my brain's
rolling. I was seeing, I read something where this woman was saying you don't realize the patterns that you saw as a child, that become your own, that as a child perhaps you saw your parents, because they had a really stressful day, they would come home and make a stiff drink. Got in a car wreck, they would come home and make a stiff drink to calm their nerves, whatever. If they went out into public, they had to have a drink. And that, as a child, you start to think, when you're 9 years old and that's what you see, oh, that must be what you do to unwind. Oh, that must be what you do when you go out in public. And then, as an adult, you find yourself doing that. Or another example that this person was talking about was she realized that she was believing that men have to take out the trash. And so when she first started living with her husband, she's like, that trash just built up for a month. And I was like, God, when is he going to take this trash out? So she confronted him, and he was like, why do I have to take it out if you see it?
You've got legs, you've got arms, you can
do it.
Exactly.
And then she was like, whoa, I just bought in. She goes, and I'm a feminist, and I bought into the fact that men take out the trash. And I realized I kind of did that too for a while. I was like, but not that I wouldn't take it out, but I would maybe wait longer to take it out, just to see if Tommy would take it out. And, that's a conditioned thing. That's just fascinating to me.
I call them the stories you tell yourself.
Yeah.
Because those stories are your reality. If you grow up and what you see is your normal, how do you know that anything else, until you get out and you experience things and you're going through your life and something's not working and you keep doing the same thing over and over, nailing Jell-O to a tree, hitting that brick wall. It's because of the stories you're telling yourself. And sometimes the stories just have to be revamped. And it sounds like a simple, easy thing to do, but so many people's identities are tied up in their stories of themselves. And those stories were created by what their parents were telling them, what another kid was telling them. And getting that out of your head, that's, it's like a freedom. It's a true freedom. And you can finally just live more authentically because you're really listening to what's real inside of you, not just what everyone's told you what you're supposed to be or told you what your weaknesses are. You figure out what your strengths are. I'm not necessarily clumsy just because my mom always said, yes, Grace. No, I'm very graceful. Yeah, it's how you reframe things and how you revamp your life and how you choose to move forward in your life.
Choice, though, that's so. We always talk about choice, and it's so true. It's what do you choose? How do you choose to look at life, or what do you choose to do?
How do you choose to react? Because sometimes that's the only thing you can control is how you choose to react.
Yeah, and it's hard to do when you're caught up in it.
Oh yeah.
I'd love to ask. So say I was to come to you and I was like, hey, I really need help flipping the script for blah, 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 blah. So say you're going to take me through a hypnosis session. I'm really curious, what part of my mind are you accessing in that moment?
Just your subconscious.
My subconscious.
And actually, I think the best thing to say is that, just hit something. I'm not doing it. I'm not the one doing it. You're the one doing it, because all hypnosis is truly self-hypnosis. I'm facilitating it, but you're the one doing the work.
So you're sort of guiding us through.
I'm just guiding you through, but it's all you. You're doing the work. I'm putting you into a state of heightened suggestibility in that subconscious state, and then that's where then all the good stuff happens and where the good things land and stick. And then as you move forward into your conscious life, you've got all that percolating, all of that, boiling to the surface, and that's what becomes your tools for change.
Do you have any success stories you can think of? I know you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how careful you have to be about sharing anything, but do you have any story that you could share?
Well, one of my favorite ones is. This is one actually that Dawn and Drew told me about, and it was also kind of what intrigued me. They were talking about weight reduction, and again, you don't say weight loss, because when you say the word loss, already that word losing has a negative connotation. And also, if you think about it, like if you lose something, you want to find it. Well, if I lose the weight, I don't want to find that weight again, right? So you're thinking weight reduction, weight release.
Smart.
But they had this client, and it blew my mind, but it was just like, yeah, that makes sense. It was a mother-daughter client situation. Both of them wanted to reduce weight. And the daughter just could not get the pounds to drop. And she was doing everything, dieting, exercising, etc. And we've talked before, Shell, about how women, we hold on to things. And a lot of times weight is what we're holding on to emotionally. Yeah. And so Dawn, my mentor, figured out that this woman, her identity was caught up in the fact that everyone said, you are just like your mother. And it was a compliment because her mother was the most wonderful, well-respected, fun, loving, go-to person in their town. And so she was like, yeah, I am just like my mother. But her mother was heavy all her life. And so as soon as the daughter figured out that was it, the weight started peeling off. She could still be like her mother, but just, so that story and that kind of idea she had of herself of what her mother was, what she was supposed to be, also feeling guilty if she took off the weight, it would make her mother feel badly. So again, decades of dieting, exercising, weight didn't come off. With hypnosis, bam, that was the key. But my favorite one, and I don't do very much of this anymore, but with smoking cessation, I had a gentleman where he actually went into, you can go into a sleep, like a sleep state while you're under hypnosis. And so at one point he was snoring while I was hypnotizing him, but responding because I had certain things I would have him do, so I knew he was still with me. And as we visualized the cigarette pack slowly shrinking down to like the size of a Tic Tac container, and I said, now I want you to imagine yourself stomping on that Tic Tac container, which is that, cigarette pack. He's like stomping on it in his chair, while he's snoring. And I mean, right there, I was like, this stuff works. It's so true. It's so good. It really works.
I think it's fascinating. And she Paige hypnotized me for confidence, right? But I didn't go into a sleep state, right? I really don't remember very much. I kind of vaguely remember it.
But you do remember it. And like with confidence, one of the biggest things in those types of sessions, and we did this with you, and I don't think you'll mind sharing, I asked you to start thinking about the things that either people have told you in the past or that you tell yourself about yourself. Oh, that was stupid. I'm so stupid. I can never do this right. I'm going to blow this audition. I always, all those kind of internal monologues.
I remember that.
You say.
Yeah.
Well, and then I put the little seed of suggestion into your mind that every time you would say something negative about yourself, I wanted you to then say cancel, cancel, cancel. Just 3 words, cancel, cancel, cancel. And so what I'll find is that when clients come back, they're like, I can't believe how many times they said cancel, cancel, cancel throughout the day. And they're appalled that they've spoken that negatively about themselves all day long. So it's that idea again of, would you talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself? No, I would never. Well, then why? Why do you not love yourself as much as you love your best friend? So cancel. Okay,
we're going to incorporate the cancel, cancel, cancel thing.
Yeah.
I was when you said that, I was like, do I still do that? I was like trying to remember. I was like, wait a minute, that sounds so familiar to me. Yeah. I totally had a moment.
Right. It's just to stop. It's to make you aware, and then you then focus it back into something. Well, I am not going to blow this audition. I'm going to rock this audition. I'm not going to be.
Remember.
Yeah. You're not going to be totally tied up in the outcome. You're going to be there for the joy of it, the process, the actual experience or whatnot. Chips fall as they may.
I remember that's why I wanted to go, because I was starting to dread them. I went through this phase, and it was after I'd shot a show, which was so weird. You would think you would have more confidence, but I got into some sort of a, oh my God, I can't do this. Or like there was just like this negative story.
Like an imposter syndrome, right? Isn't that kind of... Yeah. All right. So we took a quick little break. And now we're full of giggles. And more questions for Paige Elias, our guest. First guest ever on this podcast, which is so exciting. So, okay, here's what I was hoping you could shed some light on for me, Paige. When I'm falling asleep and when I'm waking up, never do I feel more psychic, and never do I have more odd experiences. And I'm wondering if you can shed any light for me on what is happening to me. Is this like a brain state thing? Is this like a level of consciousness thing? Like, what is happening to Bridget in those moments? And to everyone.
Well, you totally have it nailed down already. It is truly, it's a brainwave state.
Okay.
It's an alpha brainwave state. Alpha, I can't speak, and theta. Those are the brainwave states that you're in. That feeling when you're just waking up, like you said, or just falling asleep, or I don't know, have you ever driven somewhere and then you get there and you're like, I don't even remember the drive?
Oh yeah.
I've had those moments.
Yeah, but it's that when you're regularly conscious, you're in a beta brainwave state, and that's like you can critically think, and it's logical thought, and it's when you're reading and you're writing and you're talking and you're walking and you're problem solving, and you're focusing. But then in hypnosis, and also like what you were saying, when you're experiencing times where you feel more magical or more metaphysical or more in tune, you're slipping now into the alpha brainwave state. And it's like the slower, it gives you the space where you can mentally absorb information, you can digest the information, all the chatter and judgment goes away. Yeah. You're so much more open to suggestion. You kind of feel floaty. I don't know if I do, at least. It might just be me,
No.
But I kind of feel like floaty, kind of in and out. Like you can physically feel it, and you can mentally ride it. It's like a wave, almost.
Wow. I'm realizing something. I'm realizing I do this sometimes when I'm awake. It's mostly when I'm talking to Marshelle, and you see it, and I go into these zones, and I usually end up closing my eyes. And it feels very specific. I don't think I would have ever been like, oh, it feels like waking up or going to sleep. But the access that you're describing, that's what it feels like. It feels like I have access to something, and it's like there's like a peace and a calm and a relaxation, but like a heightened awareness. Very interesting.
That's
okay.
That's it.
And that's alpha
But you've
brainwave.
always been that way, right? You've always been able to tap into that, even as a child.
I would say probably, but it's at a different level now. Maybe it's just that I can do it more consciously than I could as a child, or maybe it's that as a child it was just much more of a natural way of moving through the world, and I never questioned it. But then now as an adult, I notice how different it is from being just like a conscious human to going into that state. But it feels like very creative and, I don't know, interesting. Okay.
It is.
That was that question, and I feel like I got a really exciting answer. Thank you.
Yeah. You already are doing it.
Wow.
I mean, I'd love to hypnotize you sometime.
I'm so down.
You're already there. It would just be a matter of like figuring out, we would sit down and you would just say, whatever you want to work on. And it could be anything, anything. And then we would go through a body scan. That's to get you relaxed. The body scan is like one of my favorite parts because it's so fun to do. Then we'll go into basically the induction where I induce the hypnotic state. I'll deepen it for you. And then I'll actually then do the session where I put those suggestions into your mind. I deliver post-hypnotic suggestions for you to follow up on. And then I'll slowly bring you out. And no matter what, you're going to come out feeling peaceful. You're going to come out feeling... I've had people tell me, I feel like I had a full night's sleep just from a session. And you just, no matter what, you feel so relaxed. If you love meditation, if you enjoy meditation, you're going to love hypnosis. If you have never done it before and you think this is like the way, leaves and twigs and foo-foo shit weirdness, that's okay. I have hypnotized some of the most, cynical,
skeptical,
non-believing, skeptical people, and they come out and they're like, whoa. And because the first thing they'll say to me is, you're not going to make me cluck like a chicken, are you? And I'm like, well, do you want to cluck like a chicken? And then, because again, you're not going to say or do anything in hypnosis that you don't want to say or do. Your subconscious mind won't let you. So it's awesome. And it's so, like, anybody can be hypnotized. Anybody can be hypnotized.
I want to touch on something. Yes. You were talking about clucking like a chicken. My brother-in-law did one of those therapy, like there was a group therapy thing. They went to some kind of a show, and he was literally clucking like a chicken and walking around with a group of people. How is that different? Why is that? How does that happen? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because, wow,
yeah.
I mean,
you mean like the entertainment side of it?
Yeah, the entertainment side of it.
The stage hypnosis is different than more therapeutic hypnosis. I used to be really about the stage hypnosis, because I thought, it's putting hypnosis in the wrong light, and it's, it's charlatans, and they're thinking we're all weirder than normal. But then I went to Vegas during the National Guild of Hypnotists, conference, and we all went to one of the best stage hypnotists, I think, out there. And it was brilliant, and it was so fun and exciting to watch the audience. But it's different, and it's the same, but it's different. Some of the similar principles, like a stage hypnotist, automatically, as soon as he gets the people on stage, he already knows the people, that he's going to be getting to cluck like a chicken. There's signs, there's things he can see, or she can see.
Oh, okay.
You'll know. But it is different. There's value to it in the entertainment, portion of it. If it's well done, I think it also can help people realize that hypnosis is something that they could utilize, as a method to, improve themselves, to make breakthroughs, because they see it actually working on stage. But there's some really crappy stage hypnotist stuff out there too. But yeah, your brother, it sounds like he was in one that was part of a retreat, you said.
Oh,
where
they were I think it was like in Vegas or someplace like that. They went to one of those stage hypnotists.
My cat just joined us.
Hi, Kitty.
Get a little. There she is.
That's magic, right?
It's magic.
It's such a great
How
name.
did you get magic? What's her origin story?
That was divine intervention. My daughter had just moved to live with her dad, and I was missing her, and I was driving, and as I was passing the APA, I just was like, I just started crying, and I just found myself pulling myself into the parking lot. You know, my wife's going, but yeah, I did. She'd been there the longest of all the kitties. She was super shy and scared and like actually kind of terrified. So of course I'm like, I want her, and brought her home, and in typical cat fashion, it took like a couple of weeks for her to actually come out to where I would see her. But now she is just, even my wife, who doesn't like cats, she really loves this cat.
She's so sweet.
She's a cool cat. Yeah.
Oh, you rescued her.
Mm-hmm.
I love her.
I wore this outfit in honor of her.
I
Clearly.
love your outfit.
Yeah, you guys match.
Love the kitty cat.
It's a
Kitty cat
whole jumper. It might be a little too much.
What's a jumper?
It's a whole. There's a lot of print.
That's so cute.
It is like
For
a
those of you not
whole
watching,
thing.
Bridget is
revealing
showing
my
us.
I
leg.
love it.
I'm a fan of animal print, and I think you just have to be in the right mood to wear something that's full
I would agree with that.
So that's why I wore the red lipstick today, because I was like, let's just really go into this whole Jane
Beautiful.
look. And but like, where's my Tarzan?
Jane Tarzan, I just heard that.
Yeah.
Oh, the delay.
The delay or the delay?
No, the delay in my head and everything. It's sort of multitasking itself there.
I want to know more about your sleep paralysis.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. How do we get? I want to get into that.
You want to know more about my sleep paralysis?
Uh-huh.
Because Paige, you've experienced it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any particular aspect you would like to know? Because I definitely have an experience.
Okay, so did you experience it more as a child or as an adult? Are you experiencing I cannot talk today.
Okay, yeah.
Experiencing it as an
So
adult.
the main event, the one time that stands out the most in my mind that I've never had any experience like that before or since was as an adult, and it was probably at least a decade ago, but I really can't even place it in a timeline. And as a kid, I would have all sorts of experiences, but they were mostly like I would sense a presence like in the room, and I would run to mom and dad's, and my mom would let me kind of like lay down and fall asleep on the floor, and then she'd usher me back to bed, and I would fall back asleep fine after that, but I would always wake up with such a start in the middle of the night. I used to also have tons of flying dreams. I used to like fall back into my body a lot, where it was like there was like an impact. So I still to this day haven't figured out, was I like lifting my legs and throwing my legs down? Was I sitting up and falling backwards? Like, I don't know why the sensation of falling and hitting the bed was so real.
Significant.
Do you hit the bed ever? Like, do you ever actually feel yourself hit the bed? Because when I'm doing it, I'm falling to my death, and I'm thinking, I'll literally go limp, you know.
Oh.
Then I wake up. I never actually land. So you land, actually. Oh.
Yeah, I would land,
do.
but it's been a long time since I've had any of those dreams. And then I still have some dreams, some sleep paralysis-like experiences, but they're like light compared to that one time, because that one time I could not move, breathe, make a noise, anything, whereas these are more like...
What was going on in your life then?
Well,
Was there something?
I can't even tell
major
you.
Things?
I can't. I was,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
because you said you can't remember when it was, right?
I was in an unhappy relationship, but I don't know that I was like predominantly unhappy. In I don't know. But to me, it didn't feel so much about what was going on in my life. It felt more like there was a location I used to live in, and that particular place where the bedroom was set up felt like there was an entity that was there on occasion. Mm-hmm. So so to me it felt like that had a lot to do with it, and I guess I had a completely waking experience where I felt that presence as well, or probably around all that same time. But yeah, I mean, lately I would say I wake up with like my heart beating so fast that I'm like, how is this even humanly possible to still be alive? Like, it's like, that happens pretty regularly. But yeah, I have never had a sleep paralysis experience like that one before. Whew.
So Paige, you've had one, right? Do you want to?
Yeah.
Or you've had several, or one?
I've had two. Two as a child, and both. I didn't like it. I have to be honest. I was like, yeah, I don't like this.
No.
Because I was like, no. Well, because I felt like I was being, trapped. I felt like I was being a physical force, but it wasn't in physical, like touchy, how we can touch each other. But it was pushing me down and holding me down on the bed. I couldn't breathe. And I could feel like almost my heart starting to slow. And I got up right after it. I don't know why. I went into my closet, because that's, I guess, what you do when you're a child and something weird happens. But I went into my closet and I looked at the light bulb, and as I was staring at it, it just went pop, and then like sparks, and it just blew out. So yeah,
Whoa.
I don't know what was going on then. But the time when I heard, okay, so there's a hotel in Branson, Missouri that nobody needs to go to this place because there's some bad shit going on there. And it's bad. But it was the same time when I had the sleep paralysis. I think something was like anchored to me because I was, like family vacations and 2 double beds, and like mom and dad sleep in the one bed and you and your sister sleep in the other. And there's like, the room's super small and there's one bathroom and it's so much fun. But I remember I was reading and my book dropped between the bed and the wall. And so I went down, like leaned over to pick the book up. And I swear, this voice, this deep, like I could feel the texture of the voice in my soul when it said this. And it goes, "Get out!" I mean, it sounds like a terrible, crappy, bad, horror movie set in Branson, Missouri. But I kid you not, that shit was real. So, I don't know.
Where exactly did it want you to leave from? The crack between the bed and the wall? Was that its domain?
It was very possessive of that crack.
That's my crack. Get out of my crack. It's my book.
I don't even know the ending of that book.
Now,
I'm in that book right there.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
see, there you go. Just keeps proving that there's so much more. I mean,
There's
yet
so
again
much
another
out
grounded
there.
weirdo.
Right? Yay!
Cheers to that with the coffee.
Cheers with the water.
Oh, yes.
I was
Cheers with the
actually
sparkles.
doing a socially
love it.
distanced patio hang with some neighbors, and so we were all spread out. And I just casually asked everyone, "Hey, have any of you guys experienced sleep paralysis?" And they were just like, "What are you asking?" But then they were like, "But yeah, I have." And
Some of them had? They had?
I think 2 out of 3 had. And the thing is, I think a lot of the stuff that we talk about, a lot of people are very, on some level, familiar with because they've experienced it, but they just don't talk about it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to start talking about it in normal situations. I'm just going to bring it up like it's totally normal, because if it's that common, then it is normal.
Mm-hmm. Precisely.
Absolutely.
Precisely.
Yeah.
2 out of 3? I'd be, yeah.
Right? And counting me, that's 3 out of 4. That's a...
I've had like those dreams. I don't know that it was sleep paralysis, but where you feel like you can't move. So maybe it's a form of it. And it did feel like a heavy, but like that kind of thing, like where you can't open your mouth and you can't scream. But
Yes.
I was definitely, so I guess that's, but I haven't been awake like what some people say, and they feel like something's there. I feel like there's something there normally anyway. So, I mean, maybe I don't need to, that's a whole other story, I'm sure. But I've definitely had that, like, where you feel like, so I do think, I don't know what that means, but it's crazy. It's terrifying, that sense of, so I guess, yeah, in that dream, something has been chasing me, or there is something there. I've just never really thought about it until a few episodes back when Bridget really started talking about her sleep paralysis. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. The way you were describing it, it's like, I remember that not being able to. I think most people have experienced that. I really do.
I think way more people than we think have.
And maybe there's a
Some people
stigma.
might never really admit it.
Exactly.
You know?
That's what I was going to say. Maybe
Yeah,
there's like
there
a
is.
stigma to admitting it. It's like we say, I
Yeah.
don't really want to talk about it too much because I don't want to get locked up. But there's layers I'm going to talk about. You know?
Well, I feel like most people, even if they've experienced it, they're like, yeah, but it's all a dream, or it's the brain state where hallucinations and suggestions are really easily implanted into a brain. Like, they justify their way out of it. And so what makes us weird is that we're like, no, it's a real thing that happened, and there's really something scary with me while it's happening. That's the part that some
And we're
people
not going to
just
brush it
can't.
under the rug. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Some people can't get behind that.
Yeah, screw you guys. Yeah.
They, you know, maybe they're living life with a pleasant rose-colored hue. And maybe on some level that's got to be nice for a while, but...
Just in their little bubble.
Be your little ostrich self
bubble.
and just enjoy your life. Yeah. Sure.
But you're also, you know, denying probably some really cool stuff that happens, too, that's not so scary. Like synchronicities.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that.
Do you experience a lot of synchronicities, Paige?
Oh, yeah.
Well, like the cat.
Yeah.
That was a great example. Do you
Like
ever see...
live your life that way, don't you?
I do now.
Mm-hmm.
I do now. I didn't for a long time. Didn't for a long time. I definitely find the older I get, the more open I am. I mean, I think a lot of it is just you start like, I don't give a shit, you know, whatever you want to think of me. So my wife always said, "See me, love me, you know, you don't like me, whatever." Where before, you know, the people pleasing Paige that you know, that wanted to please her mom, and you know, after a while, you kind of figure some of that stuff out, and you're liberated. Or you don't figure it out, and all this bad stuff will happen in your life, upsetting things and heartbreaking things, and then eventually you figure out, how do I want to continue? Is this how I always want to feel? No. So you make yourself do whatever you have to do. I'm sorry, she's purring.
It's so cute.
I just love her so much. I just love her.
Love away.
I love her.
We used to talk about that though, Paige. We would talk about to each other like I don't. You would have that waking up moment of like, do you want to feel like that anymore? I mean, is this what you think the rest of your life's gonna be like to each other? You know, about different moments in our lives, and I think that is kind of what we're all talking about is embracing that true side of yourself and life. And living a better life, living a happier, more awake life. Wouldn't you say, Bridget?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, delays again.
We're lucky. I
Yeah.
think we're lucky when you find people that you can, you know, commiserate with and hash out some ideas together with. You know, you don't feel quite as alone, and you just, you know, the ideas compound, they build on each other, like what you guys are doing right now with your podcast. And so who knows how many people out there are going, yeah, that is exactly what has happened to me. And then they start thinking about it. And then, you know, all these new different paths start opening up for them because of your podcast, because of your friendship, because of what, you know, you've decided to share with people, because it's important to you and it makes a difference to others too.
Yay, love it.
I love it. Thank you.
I think I kind of rambled there, but
No.
yeah.
We love
That was sweet
compliments.
kitty cat right here.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, more. Let's talk about us some
We're
more.
not sick of them. We're fine. Ramble about
Be
compliments.
shy.
It's fine.
Yeah. Well, Paige, you're really amazing yourself, though. You really are. And thank you very much for wanting to
thank
do
you.
it and being our first.
Yes, it was so lovely to have you, and we'd be so happy to have you back sometime. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Truly thrilled to be here with you all.
You were
right.
fantastic.
I love you both.
All right, so
There we have it.
there you go.
Another episode in the can, y'all.
episode 19.
So come back next Wednesday for another podcast/video podcast.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about,
Marshelle?
Marshelle? We don't know.
Oh, yeah, we're not sure what that one's going to be about. We have ideas.
We have so many ideas.
We shall see. But
So many.
thanks for coming back. Like, subscribe, tell people about us.
If you have someone you want us to have on the show, not promising anything, but maybe send them our way. Maybe we'll interview them.
Could be about all things unknowable. And life lessons.
The theme, if you haven't noticed. Okay. On that
All right,
note,
we love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.